Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Avery. I am a holistic nutrition health coach, and I have a lot of videos on this channel about Candida overgrowth. This is Millie, by the way. I have a lot of videos on this channel about Candida overgrowth, so I decided to continue the series here on YouTube and post more videos about Candida overgrowth because y'all have so many questions about it, and I really want to educate you guys and share what I know about Candida overgrowth and help you guys cure it and overcome it, because it's definitely possible. I'll list some videos down below that I've already posted about Candida overgrowth, but in today's video I'm specifically going to be talking about some symptoms that you may have if you have Candida overgrowth. And just a disclaimer, if you do have these symptoms that I'm mentioning, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have Candida overgrowth. These are just some symptoms. I'm not diagnosing you with Candida overgrowth. Always get tested, always talk to your doctor. I'm just going to be sharing my experience and sharing what I've learned through my research and what I've learned through talking with other people. So first I'm going to talk about the experiences that I had when I had Candida overgrowth. So I had a lot of food sensitivities, I had food allergies, and I did get an IgE test, which is a food allergy test that's blood work, and so I did have that done, and I found out I had a lot of food allergies. So if you're someone who has a lot of sensitivities or a lot of food allergies, this is definitely a symptom of Candida overgrowth. I also had really low levels of B12. B12 is something that your doctor should be testing in your annual blood work if you're getting that done. So I had those two things, as well as anxiety and depression. I also had extreme fatigue, like I was having to take a nap every single day, and this is definitely a symptom of Candida overgrowth. I was also craving a lot of sweets, a lot of carbs, and I was experiencing some headaches as well. I rarely get headaches now that I've cured Candida overgrowth, but it was definitely something that I was dealing with maybe weekly, if not weekly, definitely monthly. But now I very rarely have headaches, maybe like a handful of times a year, which is really great. I also experienced some acne, especially in my forehead area. It was kind of like fungal acne. I don't know if this is related specifically to Candida overgrowth, but I also had canker sores a lot, which is like sores inside your mouth that are really painful, and I had those a lot, and I very rarely get those now. So I don't know if that's a direct symptom to Candida overgrowth, but I just thought that I would mention that. I had extreme bloating, like really extreme bloating. I would look like 6 months pregnant. It was really uncomfortable and not a great look. I always had to wear like loose clothing. I would be in a lot of discomfort. So if you have extreme bloating, that's a sure sign that you have some sort of digestive issue going on. It may be Candida overgrowth, but it also could be so many other things. I also had reoccurring yeast infections. So if you do have reoccurring yeast infections, that's definitely a sign that you may have Candida overgrowth, because it is a yeast overgrowth. Like Candida is in everyone, but it's when it becomes an overgrowth it's a problem. So if you do have reoccurring yeast infections, that can be a sign that you have Candida overgrowth. I also had white tongue, which is like an oral thrush. So I would say it's normal to have like some coloring on your tongue. I like tongue scrape every single morning religiously now, but I used to not do that, and I would notice I had like a coating on the tongue, and that's a sign that you may have Candida overgrowth. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about some things that I personally didn't have, but you may have. If you are constipated, or if you have diarrhea a lot of times, you're not having regular bowel movements, or you're having too many bowel movements, any kind of symptom like that is a symptom of Candida overgrowth. And I did mention bloating, but also if you have a lot of gas, or if you eat certain foods and you immediately have some sort of reaction like gas or diarrhea or something like that, that can indicate that you have a food sensitivity. It could also indicate that you have Candida overgrowth. Some other symptoms would be things like joint pains, or if you are getting sick a lot, your immune system is really low and you feel like you're constantly like sneezing, have a runny nose, coughing, things like that. Just your immunity in general seems to be really low. If you have trouble sleeping, that could be caused by Candida overgrowth. I mentioned previously that I had kind of like a fungal acne going on my forehead, but it can be any kind of skin issue like eczema, redness, rosacea. anything like that is very chronic and persistent, it may be a sign for you to look into your gut health. So just keep that in mind. If you are having reoccurring skin issues, it may be Candida overgrowth. The last thing that I will mention is if you have some sort of like nail fungus. So if you do see that on your nails, especially your toenails or things like that, something that really helps is oil of oregano, if you just put that directly on it. But I also have a lot of other tips to help you with these things, a lot of YouTube videos, and I also have 2 ebooks right now that are about Candida overgrowth, and I'm hoping to come out with some more in the future. So definitely check those out on my website. I will link it down below, and that's really it. That's all the symptoms that I wanted to talk about today. And like I said, if you do have several of these symptoms, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have Candida overgrowth, but it is something to bring up to your doctor. Maybe they can do some testing. I tested for Candida overgrowth through my blood, and I also tested it by doing a GI map stool test, which is kind of gross, but it is one of the best tests that you can do for your gut health. So I really encourage you to do that, because it tells you so many things. Like, it tells you if you have SIBO, it tells you if you have parasites, it tells you if you have Candida overgrowth, and just so many other things like H. pylori, what bacteria you're low in, what bacteria is really high. It tells you all the things like that. Those are the 2 tests that I recommend for testing for Candida overgrowth. And that's really it. I hope you guys like this video. Give it a like if you do. Let me know what other videos you want to see from me. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.